what's up? Hello, my name is Emma and today I'm going to be giving you guys my September reading wrap up. So in the month of September, I read 5 books, which I am really pleased by. It has been the first month of my last semester of undergraduate school and it has been absolutely crazy. It is just so overwhelming to juggle school and work and YouTube and reading and pole class and a million other things. So I'm super impressed that I got 5 books done this month. And on a good note, I really loved everything I read this month. So like, it's been pretty good for reading wise. Stress wise, not so much, but reading, A+. So I listened to 2 audiobooks in the month of September, which I'm sure if you've been watching my last few wrap-ups, you can guess are the Harry Potter series. This month, the first audiobook I listened to was Order of the Phoenix, and I really enjoyed it. Harry Potter is always good. It's always 5 stars. But I have to say, I really enjoyed Order of the Phoenix more than I thought I would. Now, I have to say, for me personally, Order of the Phoenix is always one of the Harry Potter books I look forward to the least when rereading. Not because this book is bad by any means, because like the ending of this book is so phenomenal. But number one, it's huge. It's the longest Harry Potter book. I think it's like a 26-hour audiobook. It might be more. But I also feel like every time I think of Order of the Phoenix, I associate it mostly with things like Umbridge and all of the horrible things that she does and all of the bad treatment for Harry. And I think for some reason I always focus right in on Harry and chose a really uncomfortable date that makes me want to crawl out of my skin cringing every single time I read it. So I have a lot of like negative things associated with Order of the Phoenix, which is why I don't often look forward to rereading it, even though I do always enjoy it. But I think this time I enjoyed Order of the Phoenix one of the most that I ever have read it. I don't know what it was. Maybe I just like focused in on more of the positives of Order of the Phoenix this time in thinking of Harry and Sirius's relationship, of Hermione and all that she's doing with Spew, of course Dumbledore's army, and I really loved Fred and George like so much in this book. So I think it was just like one of those times where it was a really good reread and I'm super happy about that. And then of course the next audiobook that I listened to in the month of September is HalfBlood Prince. HalfBlood Prince is always one of my favorites. It never disappoints. Honestly, at this point, HalfBlood Prince is such a contender for my very first #1 spot in Best Harry Potter Book because it is that good. HalfBlood Prince is just so entertaining. For some reason, this plot just really sticks out to me and I'm just like so enthralled every single scene. If you're unaware, this summer I started reviewing each Harry Potter book as I reread them. I'm a little behind because I'm on Deathly Hallows and at this point I've only posted my Prisoner of Azkaban review, but all of my Harry Potter reviews will be linked below and the rest of them are coming, I swear. But I also just love my notes for Half-Blood Prince. Like, I'm so excited to film this review and I can't wait to talk more in depth about it with you guys. But it was definitely one of my favorite reads of the month. I just had so much fun with it. The first physical book that I read in the month of September is the Sword of Summer Book 1 of the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series by Rick Riordan. I have been talking about wanting to read the Magnus Chase series for so long on this channel and I finally had the motivation to pick it up. I was just like, I was free of all review books. I was in the mood for a fantasy after months and months of contemporary. And I feel like I made such a great decision because I loved it. It was everything I was expecting and more. I haven't read a Rick Riordan book since like 2014 when I read the Percy Jackson series for the first time. So it was so nice to be just like engrossed in his world again. I know it's a little bit different because this is the Gods of Asgard series, but it just felt like all the other Rick Riordan books I've read and I really loved that. I love the characters in this book. They're just like such a badass crew and the plot of this story was so exciting. Like every scene was something new and I really enjoyed the excitement of it. I'm definitely excited to continue reading the rest of the Magnus Chase series. I hear it only gets better and better and I know the 3rd book is coming out very soon, so I am extremely excited that I finally got caught up, or at least I finally pushed myself to read the first book, so now I can continue with the rest of the series. Next book that I read in the month of September is Warcross by Marie Lu. I loved this book so much. It's absolutely like top 4 books of the year. It was amazing. Warcross essentially takes place in this near futuristic world where everyone has access to virtual reality and it's a huge part of society. So there is this huge game called Warcross, which is like an international phenomenon. Everyone is involved in it. And during the opening ceremony, our main character, Amika, who is normally a bounty hunter, ends up glitching herself into the game. Overnight, Amika has become famous as being the first person to ever hack into Warcross, and she's actually being flown across the world to Tokyo to be hired by the creator of Warcross to deal with a problem that is currently going on in the Warcross world. This book is so freaking good. If you need your like mix of contemporary sci-fi fix, I guarantee you Warcross is for you. It's kind of like Ready Player One, but like I really enjoyed Warcross much better. It's just such an exciting novel, not just the Warcross scenes, but for example, they go into like the dark web sort of area of Warcross, and there's so many like cutesy scenes between Amika and Hideo, and I just loved this book so much. Nearing the end of this book, there are also some crazy twists that I really was not expecting that make me so excited for book 2, and I'm just so grateful I picked up Warcross. I had an absolute blast reading it. I would really like to review Warcross in the coming months. I just have so many spoiler-filled thoughts that I just like need to get out because it was so good. If you haven't read Warcross yet, I would highly, highly recommend it. And then the final book that I read in the month of September was Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I kind of picked Genuine Fraud up on a whim. It's a short book. It's less than 300 pages. I feel like I just needed something new and different and short to get me into like the next phase of reading as the semester has been so crazy. And I feel like Genuine Fraud was such a perfect fit. Like other E. Lockhart books, you can't really talk about Genuine Fraud if you want to fully experience it. But it's essentially about this girl named Jewel who starts the story out on the run, and the story is actually told backwards, where we start at the most current part of the story and we go back a couple of months. And the reveal of information is just so unique and different in this story, and I really loved it. It's sort of like an unreliable method of storytelling because there's so much more information in regards to what we are currently reading that we're going to find out in just a couple of pages. And it's also paired with an untrustworthy narrator, which is not something we frequently see in YA, but it's something I love to read. So just the combination of like that like mystery, suspenseful, like sort of untrustworthy elements mixed with YA contemporary was a really great fit for me. It was just such an interesting novel, and it definitely has its flaws. Like, it's not the most exciting plot in the entire world, but it's the way that the plot is revealed that blew my mind, and I thought it was absolutely genius. I feel like my Goodreads review does a great job at explaining all my thoughts. That's spoiler free if you want to check it out. I've linked it below, but I think I gave Genuine Fraud like 4 or 4.5 stars just because it was all around a really cool read. I was totally engaged with it, and I'm so happy I read it this month. Guess who forgot to talk about a book in her wrap up for like the 4th month in a row? So additionally, in the month of September, I read a book called Not If I See You First by Eric Lindstrom. The real reason this was on my TBR was because of Diversity Bingo, because it's a book dealing with a blind main character. And yes, I am still participating in Diversity Bingo. Just like I sometimes forget to talk about an entire book, I also forget to mention that I'm reading for Diversity Bingo. So I ended up giving Not If I See You First 4 stars because I really enjoyed the book, but it definitely wasn't what I was expecting. This book was really marketed to me as this blind girl named Parker is extremely independent and self-sufficient, and she ends up joining her school's track team. And so as it turns out, the real running aspect of this book and Parker joining the track team is only present in the very beginning of the novel and the very end. The middle of the story doesn't have a lot of plot. It's very character driven. It's basically just about Parker dealing with the effects of her father's death and moving in with her aunt, uncle, and cousins. It's about dealing with a friend in the past that has betrayed her and a potential new relationship, and just kind of juggling all of these things at once. And it wasn't a bad book by any means. Like, I feel like I personally learned a lot about blindness from this book. I think it's very well researched based on the information that I do know about blindness. Like, Parker is just like such a great main character. You have to fall in love with Parker when you're reading this book. But just the plot points in this story that I was really interested in were not present all throughout this book. Like I said, a lot of this book is about Parker re-encountering this boy named Scott from her past who previously betrayed her. And we only really learn about Scott in the past. He's not a very central character in the present story, so like I wasn't able to care about him. Like, he was just kind of there, and like I didn't really understand all of the significance of his character because I didn't get to know him as a person. I've only known him through Parker's eyes of the past. Overall, though, I really did enjoy Not If I See You First. Like, I feel like I gained so much from encountering Parker's story, and I feel like it is a really well-researched novel about blindness. Like, you can see in the acknowledgement, the author did encounter a lot of people that were very helpful in creating an authentic character, which is very important to me. So I loved Parker, and I really enjoyed this book, and I definitely would recommend it if you're looking for books about about characters who might be very different from you, or about blind main characters in general. So that really concludes my September wrap up. I feel like I somehow managed to get through these books so quickly. So I feel like I need to channel that into some of my other videos that are way too long. But I hope this somewhat more concise wrap up than what you normally get was enjoyable. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you read any of the books on this list, what you thought of them, or what your favorite read in September was. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye!